Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about 3 gig workers explain how they got deactivated on apps from DoorDash to Walmart's Spark. So getting deactivated on DoorDash, UberEats, and Grubhub, or even Walmart Spark in this case, is one of the greater fears in the gig economy. Not because it is something that they are doing, it's actually because they're not doing anything. But it can be perceived as something bad if somebody says something, and because we're on the front lines, bam, we would get deactivated just like that. Because who's the one that gets the blame at the end of the day? The independent contractor. So with that said, we are talking about everything that's being said in this article, how it actually is for DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub drivers, as well as Walmart Spark drivers, apparently, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Work can disappear suddenly if you make deliveries as a gig worker. That's because apps like DoorDash, Instacart, Uber Eats, and Walmart Spark frequently deactivate the accounts of their drivers over minor issues, or no obvious issue at all, according to delivery workers who have spoken to Business Insider. That is such a all-encompassing statement too. And a lot of the cases, you don't even know why you get deactivated. Like if you get deactivated on DoorDash, sometimes they'll just tell you a violation occurred. They're being a little bit more transparent now, but not really, because there are some drivers that get deactivated for unassigning an order for no good reason to them. But in your mind, it was absolutely a good reason because you were waiting over half an hour, but you didn't want to wait for 30 minutes more for them to start the order. But DoorDash will blame you for stuff like that. Or you use the red card and the red card gets declined for some reason. You're the one that gets the fault of that. And who's going to be the one being blamed? Not the one whose error is on DoorDash, the independent contractor. Not the error that Walmart Spark is having with their systems, the independent contractor. Not the Uber Eats driver trying to use the Plus card or trying to just take a delivery and they claim that they didn't get the order, the independent contractor. Not Instacart for forgetting to take the receipt and put it in their pocket as opposed to in the bag because Instacart wants you to keep the receipts as opposed to giving them to the customer, the independent contractor, even though you didn't even bag it. Fighting those deactivations and getting back on the apps tends to be tough. Some gig workers have found success thanks to arbitration clauses in the company's terms for delivery contractors. One former Instacart shopper even got a $28,000 payout after he was deactivated over an erroneous charge at a Walmart store, he told BI last year. Yeah, but those are few and far between. So few and far between, as a matter of fact, that this Instacart shopper story is much older than it should be, and there hasn't been any real public wins since, because arbitration isn't for you, the contractor, it's for the companies for their protection. They don't want this information public. They don't want the idea that they're scamming their drivers public. They don't want wrongful deactivations to be revealed. They're scum in every way. 3 workers who spoke with BI pointed to particularly bizarre and, in their views, unjustified experiences related to the apps closing their accounts. The workers didn't want to be identified in this story, but BI has verified their work for the apps mentioned. Because then they're going to go after you about this. Like, imagine being so concerned for your well-being as an independent contractor. You have to basically say the story without saying it. So many people would prefer to remain anonymous, even when emailing me about things, because they don't want the apps coming after them in any way. Which, by the way, if you want to remain anonymous, but you want to tell me a story about something, email me. Just mention that you would prefer to be anonymous. If you want me to mention your name, make sure you sign your name, so that way I could give the proper identification to you. Deactivated without doing a single order. One Ohio delivery worker told BI she signed up for Walmart Spark delivery service last fall. She wasn't making enough money delivering orders for DoorDash, she said, so she wanted to try other apps. Okay, but real talk though, I've been testing out Walmart Spark for a minute. It's actually solid pay, to be honest. Imagine if the base pay of a Walmart Spark order is the equivalent to an average order on DoorDash. And I'm not talking like a no-tip customer. I'm talking about about a tipping customer on DoorDash is roughly about 6 or 7 on average. That is about 50% of orders, give or take. That's just base pay with Walmart Spark. It's not a perfect system. I can't say it's a perfect system, but the pay's okay. I'm actually all for it. Granted, they need to stop batching orders, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Before she could start delivering, though, she needed to renew her driver's license. Walmart would not sign off on her account until she uploaded a picture of her new license. I gotta be honest with you, the identification processes for a lot of these apps can be absolutely nightmarish, especially since they all basically use the same company persona. Like DoorDash's ID verification system, you gotta like scan your face. Walmart does the same thing. Like, I'm mildly concerned about what's gonna happen when I get my new ID, if I'm actually going to have a problem with that. Now, granted, I look the same in my ID back then as I do today because it's not like I grew a beard or anything, but what about somebody who shaved their face and had a beard in the photo, or has a beard now and doesn't have one back then? Like, you basically gotta commit to a look for the rest of your life if you're gonna be a gig worker. They really need a better system for making sure that the identification process is done correctly. She spent the next few days trying to get someone on Spark's support line to help, but the driver never got her account reactivated or even a clear explanation of what went wrong. I feel like it's a fairly easy fix, the driver said. You can look at my account, see I've not made one delivery for you people, and just reactivate it. If they want to get rid of drivers, they're gonna find any and every reason to deactivate you and keep you quiet overall. Like, you didn't even do a single delivery, so you wouldn't even know, but if they want to get rid of you, they will find a way to get rid of you, because most people aren't going to fight them in the courts about this. Most people aren't going to take this to arbitration. They're just gonna keep it quiet and move on. A Walmart spokesperson said if a driver's account is not approved, it may be due to a variety of reasons, including failure to meet the eligibility requirements or violation of the platform's terms of use. But that isn't why it happens. That is such a copy-paste, shut up and leave me alone answer to give a reporter on this subject. You're not even acknowledging the question. You're just sending a blank statement or like an auto reply. 2 accounts, 2 deactivation fights. Last summer, a couple who each deliver orders for DoorDash using their own accounts in California found one of their accounts had been deactivated for suspicious activity. DoorDash wasn't able to provide a more specific reason for the deactivation of the couple told BI. Yeah, DoorDash doesn't exactly disclose anything to people. They just say a violation occurred, and even if you do find out the reason, you basically need a lawyer to fight on everything. And not all lawyers like to do their jobs either. You know how hard it is to find a lawyer that's gonna fight DoorDash of all people? Like, here's the reality. A lawyer is trying to make money. They're not trying to help people. Like, it's amazing how many people will say, oh, take this to court or whatever, but finding a lawyer that can help you actually do that is really freaking hard, especially for independent contract. Then in January, the second driver said his girlfriend's DoorDash account was reactivated after she tried contacting DoorDash multiple times. But that same month, DoorDash deactivated his own account, citing suspicious activity. He hasn't been able to get back on the app, he said. So one person got deactivated for suspicious activity, only to be reactivated, and then their significant other was deactivated for that same suspicious activity. What is happening? What is suspicious? Oh, you're making money and profiting, so that's considered suspicious? That's what I thought. Finally, in February, DoorDash once again locked the girlfriend out of her account. This time it was suspended because her identity couldn't be verified, even though she's been making deliveries for DoorDash for 7 years. You see, this is what I'm talking about with the persona and with the identity verification thing. I think, and this is me, I think they do that not even because they're gonna actually deactivate you, but because they just want to make sure you can't drive without actually deactivating you. They'll claim it's for the purposes of making sure that the platform is safe and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's a soft deactivation method. Claiming that the system couldn't figure out who you were is a better answer than we just just wanted to get rid of a profitable, intelligent driver. One agent said the account was still active, and another agent told her account was deactivated and there's nothing she could do. The driver recounted. DoorDash doesn't seem to care and they just keep giving us the runaround. Sounds like a very DoorDash thing for them to do. A DoorDash spokesperson directed BI to a statement that the company released on deactivation and other policies last fall. It says that serious or egregious conduct can lead to deactivation and that DoorDash has an appeals process driven by human decision making and oversight. Yeah, that's a load of bullshit. Serious or egregious conduct like what? Like what? I love these fancy terms that they love to use when in reality it's not serious or egregious at all. You know what's serious and egregious? Assaulting a customer. That's a serious and egregious thing. Stealing from customers. That's serious and egregious. That actually happens. And some of those drivers still remain. But those drivers are also making them a profit as opposed to themselves, so they'll stay on the platform. You know what's serious and egregious? Customers pulling some refund method continuously and you not doing anything about it. That's serious and egregious. Yes, you just released a PIN number system, but how long was that going on before you actually did something? Oh, and by the way, that method was used by UberEats for a long time and you did nothing with it. Don't say it's serious or egregious conduct for the reasons of why people are deactivated, when in reality, that's not why they got deactivated at all. Also, can we acknowledge for a second that the human decision-making and oversight is from people in the Philippines that don't actually care about the drivers at all? Or we know that the reason why the human decision making is taking place is not even about whether or not the driver committed the crime or whatever. It's about them maintaining image as opposed to telling the truth. Deactivated after buying expensive wine. One Instacart shopper in California told BI that he was shopping for a grocery order last summer that included a bottle of wine. According to the summary, the wine should have cost around $40, but in the store, it was selling for roughly twice as much. Yeah, but that's not the fault of the driver. Just because a store wants to label a certain item at a certain price, that doesn't make it the fault of the driver. It makes it the fault of the company that chose to label it that way. That's like blaming the driver for the store increasing the prices of a burrito bowl. Yes, it's to a different degree, but it's the same crime. Sounds like you should be taking that up with the store as opposed to the driver. Oh, you don't want to mess with the relationships of the business owners, so you decide to mess with the relationships of the drivers? That's what I thought. At checkout, the shopper said his Instacart debit card was declined when he tried to pay for the order. After calling Instacart, a support agent was able to add the money to the company-issued debit card. The shopper went on to deliver the order. A day later, his account was deactivated. Instacart's email to him cited a misappropriation of the company's money. So wait a second. Your support agent approved of the transaction. You knew of the product in which that was being purchased, and you decided to deactivate him for your support agent's screw up. Way to prove that this is based on the piss poor integrity and character of the failures that run these companies. The shopper spent the next week on the phone daily with Instacart support to figure out what had gone wrong. Then I finally just gave up, the shopper said. He added that he decided it was easier to sign up for another app instead of getting his Instacart account reactivated. Say what you will about the gig economy, but there is nothing more factually accurate than that statement. As much as I hate to say that you should just give up or say something along the lines of that, sometimes that's just the better option. Like, a lawyer will advise a client not to go to court because it'll cost them more money to hold them accountable than to just settle or whatever. But in reality, a lawyer isn't even going to help you. So what's going to happen? You're just going to give up. Now, I am all for fighting the good fight, but make sure you're well diversified too in case something like this happens. An Instacart spokesperson confirmed that shoppers are restricted to a specific spending amount per batch. If a shopper manually adds goods to the order that exceeds the capped amount, Instacart receives an alert, and our teams manually review the order to take action as needed, the spokesperson added. Which is why, in a lot of cases, we would just refund the item if the item is unavailable. But in this case, that amount is based on the exact item they purchase. So it's the same bottle of wine, but it doubled in price. Isn't that a conversation you should have with the restaurant and not trying to hold the driver accountable to that? What if you found out that the restaurant was price gouging later on? Are you going to reactivate the shopper account? No, because you're scumbags, because this isn't about holding the driver accountable. It's about you trying to get rid of good drivers. That's what I thought. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. And then you pay me. There you go. One of the most important aspects of being a gig worker, in my opinion, is being so well diversified that something like this would not faze you as much. Yes, DoorDash, Walmart, and Instacart are 3 huge apps in the gig economy, and they can be profitable for a lot of people, especially with the amount of volume that they have. However, it is vitally important that you are well diversified as well. If you're a food delivery driver on DoorDash, are you on UberEats? Are you on Grubhub? Have you tried looking into other apps? Have you tried Walmart Spark? Have you tried getting into the grocery delivery game? Or are you not willing to do shop and pay orders? That's fine, but just remember, you're limiting your own opportunities here. Walmart Spark also has curbside pickup for delivery, and they've been solid for me so far. Have you got on Instacart? Have you tried Shipt? Shipt is kind of crappy, but it's an option for you. Have you got into catering delivery? Deliver that. Delivered. Food Fetched. That's another app that I recently hopped on. Time to Eat SoFlo if you're in South Florida, of which they're rebranding the Street Lions. NC Deliveries. Are you looking into localized catering companies? Or are you just relying on these big corpos? What about other verticals like TaskRabbit or Thumbtack? The list can go on for days and the niches can go on for years. And we didn't even touch route delivery with Amazon Flex and Veho, which I have my gripes with Veho, but it's still an option. Either way, it is your responsibility to protect yourself financially, because no one's going to look out for your well-being better than you. And the gig economy is one of those professions where you gotta be on the move constantly. You gotta be ready for any kind of change. No one is gonna look out for you better than you are. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.